Right when I picked my phone up, I heard an engine sound outside. It was just like a quiet one. But anyway, like I said, I've been seeing these cats when I get on Instagram at the top of the page. Sometimes when I get on Instagram, I'll see a cat like in like a rescue shelter that has like its eye like gouged out, like burnt out. I saw one that was like burnt out, or like a bunch of them where there's just like an eyeball hanging out or whatever. There's just cats like with fucked up eyes in like a rescue mission or whatever. I'll see like a video or a picture of a cat like that, and I've seen multiple of them. I just posted 2 of them tonight that I saw tonight after I said it today on the video. And I saw one this morning, and then just like recently, I've been noticing. I don't know how long they've been doing it, but I've just been noticing this recently. I just like keep seeing different posts, different cats, you know. Probably different pages too. I don't know if it's the same page every time or what. But just like right when I get on Instagram, it'll be like at the top of the feed, at the top of the page, right when I get on. So I saw 2 of them tonight, within like an hour of each other or whatever. It's not every time I get on Instagram, but it's pretty frequently though. It's happened a bunch of times. Definitely seems like a stalker thing. And it seems like one eye symbolism too. And my name is Illcat, so it's just cats with their eye fucked up, like they got mauled by a dog or whatever, or shit like that. And I've seen, I don't know how many I've seen before today, but a bunch of them. So I'm gonna start screenshotting them, and I'll post up like a compilation of them or something if I see more of them. But then they might stop doing it, so that I don't do that or whatever, or they might just keep doing it, and I don't know. I think it's definitely a stalker thing though. And then the one cat, the one that I posted tonight, had 2 eyes fucked up, but it's usually just one. Like all the other ones I've seen, there's just one eye, I think. That one has both eyes, like they're stitching up its eyes or whatever. In the vet or whatever. It's gross. Like I don't want to see that shit. And then my water heater broke, like I said. Well, also like I said, my deadbolt screw was loose yesterday. Like this screw was loose, and it was like sticking out like this far. It was like sticking out really far. Like it shouldn't be sticking out that far if it like wiggled loose, I would think. I think somebody unscrewed it. Or I would dare say that I know somebody unscrewed it. So I was leaving for work yesterday. I was like in a hurry to get ready to go to work. I already told this story this morning, but like I was leaving for work, I was getting ready, and I noticed the screw was loose. So I had to go grab my screwdriver quick and screw it back in. And then my water heater broke the other night. It just made this sound, and just like it was like really loud. I was like, is this a stalker thing? But I think it just actually just broke. I don't think it was synced up now that, on second thought, but Or maybe it broke synced up. I don't know. But they came and fixed it, and then after they came and fixed it, the sink, my sink, was like dripping water in my bathroom floor. Like there was water coming out from like underneath my sink, dripping in the bathroom floor, like flooding like half of my bathroom floor. It was dripping out really slowly and shit, and I was able to like wipe it up, but. And then it's retrograde right now, I think, isn't it? I've been seeing people saying that on Twitter. I think it's still retrograde. So now that I'm targeted, like I don't know anymore. But it always used to seem like things would like glitch out during retrograde a lot. Now that I'm targeted, I'm like, I don't know what to think anymore about when things glitch out and stuff and break and whatever. But it always used to seem like things would do that during retrograde a lot. But it's just right after you fix my water heater, my sink is dripping. So like I'm like, I don't know. It's like it's one thing after another. So I don't know if it's retrograde or stalker things, but my neighbor keeps coughing synced and like talking synced right now. Been coughing synced like a bunch of times tonight. There's some sirens that drove by my apartment today. There's the ambulance siren at the start of the video today. And then there was a fire truck like before that, like up the street. Like over by that food bank, that food cabinet thing that I walk to sometimes. Like I walked up to it, and then right when I walked away from it, well, first of all, when I was crossing the intersection before that, I heard the dispatch thing at the fire station. Right when I walked up to the street, I heard the doo-doo on the fire station. It's like dispatch sound. And then I walked up to that food cabinet thing, and then right as I'm walking away from it, the siren was starting. And then this fire truck drove behind me, and it was like at the corner of the house before the next intersection. And then the ambulance drove by at the corner of the house when I got across the intersection on the video, the start of the video. And then there was a bunch of children stalking me today. A lot. And then I crossed the street. Right when I started crossing the street, this kid was like sitting in his car or something. I don't know if they got in a car. I think they got in a car. But they were stalking me before that. And they all had red shirts. Well, it is Husker game day. But I did see a lot of synced up red shirts today again. A lot of children with red shirts synced up today. So I don't know if they're wearing red shirts because it's Husker game day, but they were synced up though, regardless. But they were synced up. Those children were synced up with the red shirts. And then like as I'm crossing the street, they're going like, woo, 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 or some shit like that. And they just keep doing it. They just keep doing that all the way, like the whole way that I'm crossing the street. And then right when I get across the street, they stop. So they're just doing that the whole time that I'm walking across the street. And then right when I get across the street, they stop. And they started right when I started to cross the street. And then right after I get across the street, there's these other children with red shirts running in front of me synced. And then there's a bunch of children that are just like smirking at me and like doing mocky weirdo shit as they stalk me. Which is like most of the stalker children that I see, they're just like smirking at me and shit. Like it's like funny. They think it's so funny. But they're children. They don't even know what the world is yet, so they don't even know that they're a terrorist. Probably they just think it's a fun game or whatever. I don't know. But then I saw these girls. They were like standing by a door. They're just standing there, and she's just like standing, looking at her cell phone or whatever. And then they like walk in the door when I walk by a crosswalk. They're like right up ahead of me on the sidewalk. And then there's a kid on a bike that synced up at an intersection. And there's a bunch of children stalking me today. And children like screaming synced and shit. And a bunch of people like laughing synced and just doing weird shit like that all day. Weird mocky shit. And driving by me, waving at me when I'm recording and shit. And then I recorded on Instagram after that video that I did today. And there are these cops that pulled up, met me at the intersection. Like he pulls up, synced, drives by me synced, and then drives in front of me synced, and then parks. And then he walks up, as I'm walking up to the intersection, he's walking up the sidewalk or whatever, and then he's like talking as I walk up to the intersection. And he's like, because I was talking about gang stalking on Creepbusters again. I was making all these posts and videos and stuff. And he's like, these people said that they were concerned about you or some shit. He's like, people are saying that you're saying stuff on the internet and they're concerned about you and you're gonna hurt yourself or whatever. But like he started talking synced right when I walk up to the intersection. And then the other cop, and then there's also a one light white SUV pulling up as he's walking up. And then there's a cop turning and parking, like turning at the intersection as the other cop walks up to me, and then parking and then coming out. And then when I go across the street, I'm like, see y'all later, you're harassing me, bye. I go across the street, and right when I get across the street, they both start walking. Like I turn my camera back at them, and they both start walking right when I get across the street. Like they both step over the curb right when I get across the street or whatever. So, and then there's a bunch of cops on that video too. Like before that. I think like one after that or something. But and fucking stalkered up. Getting a lot of frequencies in my ears lately. Been fucking stalkered up. I hear the engine sounds outside right now. I heard footsteps through the walls synced or something. Like the walls creaking synced or whatever. And then what else? And then what else? Go watch that video that I did on Instagram today. It was pretty crazy. I don't know, there's just a lot of stalker shit going on. Like whatever else I'm forgetting, rest assured it's stalkered up, whatever it was. Extremely stalkered up. Thought I heard another siren on it. But I don't know. I'm just really angry today about it. I'm trying not to be angry, but fuck. You know? So, I don't know. I can't think of anything else that happened today. I'm trying to think. Uh, the people just drive by and they honk and wave and smile and laugh and shit. And they just laugh as they have their children in the car. And their children are laughing. Sometimes I'll see that. And then like they think it's funny to stalk with their children in the car. And it just blows my mind. Like this one girl is in my comments on Creepbusters on Facebook. And she's like, you're recording me and my children in my car. I'm gonna call the cops the next time you do that. And then like she's saying that I'm just like standing outside of buildings and just like waiting for people to come out and record them or something like that. And like I don't do that. I just walk around and record what's happening around me. And I'll sit on a bench sometimes, you know, and I'll like stand up at an intersection sometimes or whatever for a minute, and then I'll keep walking again. But she's like, you just stand outside of buildings and you just like wait for my daughter's dance class to get out or whatever. I'm like, no, I don't. I've never done that. Like, and I'm like, show me the video, and then she doesn't post the video, and then I'm like, were you stalking me? Is that why I was recording you? Because I don't just record people just to record people. I record people stalking me. I record people that are pedophiles trying to meet me thinking I'm an underage child. And that's about it. That's about the only times that I record people, or if I'm at a concert or something, or whatever, like something like that. You know? I don't just stand outside your daughter's dance class recording people. No, I don't do that. Show me the video where I do that. I don't. Anyway, she's saying all this, and then she's like laughing, and she thinks it's funny, and she's like, "You need mental help, bro." And it just blows my mind. Like, you think it's funny? Like, I assume she's a stalker because I don't record people. Like I said, I record stalkers. So I assume she was stalking me. That's why I was recording her. Or I thought she was a stalker because I see stalkers all the time. But most likely she was getting in a car right next to me. And it was a white SUV with a 223 license plate or some shit like that. So most likely she was a stalker. And then judging by the way that she's like mocking me and laughing, she's probably a stalker. So if she is a stalker, she thinks it's funny. And then other stalkers I see, they drive by me with their children in the car. They think it's funny to drive by with their children in the car. To play a game to make me snap the fuck out on them. Potentially throw a brick through their car window. Because that's what the orchestrators want me to do, is react in a way like that. So they're playing this game to try to make me snap the fuck out on them. Whether they know it or not. Whether the stalkers know it or not. The people controlling them, like puppets, want me to snap the fuck out on them. Or that's one of the scenarios that they want to produce. Right? So they're a crash test dummy being used like a crash test dummy puppet. And they think it's funny that their children are in the car with them. And they're stalking me in an attempt to make me snap out and potentially throw a rock through your car window or shoot you in the face with your children in the car. Why is that funny? Why is it funny? What's funny about that? Or what's funny about me having mental illness? What's funny about that? What's funny about any of that? I don't know what's funny, but people be laughing though, like it's funny. Can somebody explain to me what's funny? Well, I don't get the joke. But yeah, I don't know when they did the deadbolt thing. if it was, I don't know when it was. I just noticed it the other morning, so I don't know how long it was like that before that, but I think it was a stalker that did it, and they came in my apartment when I was out, and they unscrewed the deadbolt, and then they walked back out or whatever, just to let me know they were in here. They just unscrewed the deadbolt a little bit. So I don't know what else they did in here, if anything, but they unscrewed the deadbolt though. And there's the story that I've told a bunch of times where there was a shoe, just in case there's anybody new here. There was one time where there was a shoe outside my apartment door, and I've never taken my shoes off outside my apartment door. I always come in the door, take my shoes off, and then I lock the door because it doesn't close all the way if you don't lock it. So I came out one morning, the door was unlocked, and one of my shoes was missing. I opened the door and it's sitting out in the hallway. I've never been like it. Out of all the times that I've done drugs, I've never been so high or so drunk that I've took my shoes off out in the hallway or left one shoe out in the hallway. I've never taken my shoes off out in the hallway, even if I'm smashed drunk or whatever. I'm coming in, I'm taking my shoes off inside, and then I'm laying down in bed or whatever, watching my walls melt or whatever. But I'm not taking my shoes off in the hallway though. I've never done that. Ever. Never. I've done a lot of Robitussin in my life, and I never did so much that I took my shoes off in the hallway. That's never a thing that I've done. And I don't think I was, maybe I was high on weed or whatever on that day, but I wasn't on crack or anything, and I wasn't on meth, and even if I was, I would probably still take my shoe off inside. I've never done meth, but if I did, I would probably still be there enough to come inside and take my shoes off inside. Right? So it's not because I was drunk or high or whatever. It's not that. It's somebody came in while I was asleep or something, because it was in the morning, like after I woke up. So I assume while I was asleep or while I was in the shower or something, somebody came in and they took my shoe and they put it in the hallway and they left my door unlocked, which is always locked because it doesn't close all the way if you don't lock the deadbolt. Like it's like a habit. Every time I come in, I lock it. Every time. And I take my shoes off inside. So there's been a few things like this that have happened before where I come home and things are rearranged, or like it doesn't seem to happen a lot, but maybe it does and I don't notice it or whatever. I don't know. But it's like they'll move something from one place to another, or they'll unscrew the deadbolt, or they'll whatever, do a thing to let me know that they've been here. They even might steal shit. I don't know. I think they've stolen things before. I think they might like do things like this, where they like fuck with my cords and my clothing, and like put holes in my clothing and shit. I think they do things like that all the time. But then it's like, I don't know what all is them doing it and what is just things happening, you know? Like, if I have a hole in my clothes, I don't know if it's them that did it or if I just have a hole in my clothes. But I think they do things like that, though. My refrigerator's turned on sync. Oh, I saw a sync cat yesterday. Haven't seen a sync cat in a while. I saw one yesterday at work. So that's exciting, I guess. And I was just outside a minute ago. The siren started up, and then a plane was like flying like into sight when the siren started up out in front of me. It was like flying over the building in front of me when the siren started up, or like behind the building, like flying into sight. You know what I mean? So I think the plane flew into sight, synced with the siren starting up, and then it just like flew, it just like curved out in front of me. Like it didn't fly over me. It was just like out in front of me in the distance. So that happened when I was outside a minute ago. And there's been a bunch of planes flying by my apartment lately that I don't know if they're stalkers or not, but probably a few of them are. Maybe all of them. I don't know. I think I'm gonna do a full review of David Finch's game at some point soon, maybe tomorrow or something. So stay tuned for that. I'll break down David Finch's game. Because like the entire movie is synchronized things happening. So there's a lot to break down. It's gonna be a long video. I'll maybe even watch it again before I make that video or something. But I don't really know what else to say about today. It's stalked up. It was stalked up at work yesterday. It's stalked up every day. So not much else to say other than it was stalked up. A lot of red cars, a lot of sirens, a lot of train horns. There was a car alarm outside my apartment last night. There's been a bunch of people yelling outside my apartment, synced up. A bunch of stalked up things. Like, these girls were outside talking today outside my apartment, and then like they're like synced up with me, like doing something on my phone. I don't remember what. I don't remember if I was like posting something. I don't remember. But they like synced up with me doing something on my phone, and then they like synced up again with it. And the girl was like, yeah, blah, blah, blah. Or like she's just like talking louder at that moment. I forget what she was saying exactly. But she's just like talking louder at that moment. So like they started talking synced, and then they were like syncing it up multiple times as they kept talking. And they're like right outside my window. and they're talking really loud and obnoxious. So I don't know what else to say. I'm out.